What's up, everybody? It's your boy Footy Foster back with another episode of the Footy Foster podcast. So we just got wrapped up watching the USA game, big 5-1 win against Panama down in Orlando. What I'm going to talk about today is World Cup qualifying thus far. We have 2 games, one more coming. Recap why I stopped playing Xbox is kind of floating back over to my blog if you've ever checked that out. Then a little bit of information about 75 Hard and my personal review and my journey and story with it so far. And then wasn't really planning on talking about this today, but the North Carolina Tar Heels are playing Duke in the Final Four next weekend. They've never played in the tournament before. They're gonna play in the Final Four. Absolutely insane. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump into it. United States, first game of World Cup qualifying was Thursday for this cycle, of course, for this window. Played Mexico down in Mexico City. Got a valuable point there, 0-0 draw. Very, very important, as we'll talk about coming up. The really important game was here tonight, USA versus Panama. Huge, huge game. United States, as I mentioned earlier, just got a game just ended 5 minutes ago. 5-1 win over Panama. Would have been great for us to get the clean sheet. Didn't happen. That's okay. 5-1. So basically what that means for the United States going into the match Wednesday against Costa Rica. We have a 3-point advantage upon them. I think we're level on points with Mexico, and the goal difference between us and Panama is 10. Or Costa Rica, rather, excuse me. So we go down to Costa Rica on Wednesday this coming week. All we have to do is win, draw, or lose by 4 goals or less. We lose by 5, then it goes to the second. What is the second tiebreaker? I can't, off the top of my head, not 100% sure what that is. So things are looking pretty solid for the U.S. as of right now. It was a huge win tonight. 5 goals. I was just absolutely. I had a feeling that we were going to win this game. The U.S. has been insanely good at home in World Cup qualifying this cycle. Never in my wildest dreams did I expect to see us score 5. So absolutely vital. I know, like 4.5 years ago, rather, when we played Trinidad and Tobago to go to the World Cup in 2018, people were saying, "Oh, all we have to do is win or draw." This is a little bit different situation because I've seen the comparison on Twitter this evening. Like, all we have to do, quote unquote, all we have to do. It's a different situation. We're still playing on the road. The conditions should be a little bit better in Costa Rica than they were in Trinidad. And that one goal is all we needed to lose by for us to miss out. It would take an absolutely momentous disaster down in Costa Rica for us to miss out on the World Cup this year. So we're back. Hopefully, I don't want to count the chickens before they hatch, but looks like we're back in the World Cup. See us in Qatar in December. More than likely. I think I can't say that we're going to win in Costa Rica. In my preview for it, I said that we were going to lose to Mexico, beat Panama, and draw Costa Rica. I still think we're capable of a draw, but not 100% sure. So the other thing I wanted to talk about as far as the United States men's national team is the book that I just started reading. Picked it up at Barnes & Noble in Fort Wayne a couple weeks ago. What Happened to the U.S. Men's National Team, The Ugly Truth About the Beautiful Game by Stephen G. Mandis. I am 53 pages into it. It's going to be a really good read. The intro was pretty much talking about how we qualified for we made it into the 1990 World Cup, and then we hosted the 94 World Cup. Then from there, expectations started to rise, probably too much, and talking about how people are expecting too much out of the United States men's national team. There's a quote in the book The only realistic expectation is to be a consistent contender and to recognize that there are ups and downs and cycles for various reasons. So the first thing I thought of was 2018. Like, yeah, we should have been in the World Cup in 2018. No doubt about it. However, like you said, there are ups and downs. Look at Italy. Italy just missed their second World Cup in a row. They just won Euros and they missed 2018. They're gonna miss 2022 now. Another quote: the only realistic expectation for the 2022 World Cup should, is it going off the assumption that we qualify. The only realistic expectation for the 2022 World Cup should be that the 2022 World Cup is part of the development process for a young American team and an opportunity to highlight their identity. The reason I'm bringing this up is because I've been seeing a lot of stuff on social media heavily criticizing the team, the coaches, the federation, which is fair. I'm not saying we shouldn't be allowed to criticize, but people need to curb their expectations. We have like 19 players that play in the top 5 leagues over in Europe. That's incredible. So people see this and they're like, "Oh, we should be one of the best national teams in the world." Here's the difference. The average age of those 19 players, 22 years old. The average age of World Cup winning teams is 27, 28. So when he's saying this quote, the only realistic expectation for the 2022 World Cup should be that this World Cup is a part of the development process. Where that means the plan all along has been, we're circling 2026 as the year, especially since it's going to be on home soil. That's the year that we should be aiming to make a lot of noise in the World Cup. Obviously, we should qualify. That's a given. And if we don't qualify, especially given the circumstances now, we'll have to take a big, deep look at ourselves as a soccer country and the federation. But I think a lot of people are under the assumption that this team should be like contending to win it all. And that's unrealistic. So people have been saying like, "Oh, we need higher expectations. We need no, we need realistic expectations that we can actually live up to and sustain." So qualifying, that's the expectation, right? Pretty much year to year from here on out, qualifying, especially out of CONCACAF, should be the expectation. But going like to the quarterfinals, to the semifinals, that would be like icing on top of the cake if theoretically we do make it that far. So 2026 is what it's all about. You know, the average age of the team then will be 26 to 27. Got to think guys like Musa, Weah, Pulisic, Sargent, Chris Richards, Reyna, Pepe, Weston, Hoppy, Dest, Conrad, Busio. All those dudes are 23 and younger. Tyler Adams is the oldest of the bunch, 24. John Brooks is 27, 28, but he's not even really been a part of the World Cup qualifying all that much, except for like the first couple of games. And then obviously you got Zach Steffen, who's 26, but goalkeepers are a little bit of an outlier because goalkeepers can play much longer than your typical outfield player. So I just want people that love the United States men's national team. I like that we have the high expectations, but don't expect the world out of a young, albeit talented group of players. All right. That's the only point that I want to make here. So very excited about the 2 results that we've got so far. 4 points. The worst thing that can happen is we go to the playoff. In Italy, we don't want to play in the playoff. Let's get that off the bat. You know, let's clear the air there. We do not want to have to end up playing in the playoff. Italy just showed us why. They lost to North Macedonia 1-0. That's what can happen in a playoff. Doesn't matter who you're playing. We would more than likely have to play New Zealand in that playoff. So take care of business on Wednesday down in Costa Rica, and we're cooking with gas, and we're back where we need to be. So that brings me to my second segment. I stopped playing Xbox, and if anybody who's listening to this knows me on a personal level, you know I've spent a lot of time playing Xbox over the past 20 years or so. You know, I started playing video games at a very young age. I got a Dreamcast for Christmas when I was like 5 or 6, went to a GameCube, Had a Game Boy. I've had almost every console: PS2, PS3, PS4, Xbox One, the new gen Xbox. I even had a PS Vita at one point in time, a Wii. So video games have been a rather large part of my life. Um, but I stopped playing, and this isn't the first time that I've gotten rid of a console. Um, but I have certainly noticed a pattern in my life. When I'm playing a lot of video games, I'm very unproductive, very apathetic towards life. The only thing I really want to do is play video games, and it's not exactly like I'm making money playing video games. I'm not progressing my life playing video games. I'm not taking care of my body and my health, my mental health, especially if I'm playing a lot of video games. So, about a month and a half ago, I had two consoles. I had an Xbox One X and a Series X. Got rid of them both, sold them both, and I stopped playing. And again, this isn't the first time I've done it, but it's crazy. Like I said, I noticed the patterns when I stopped playing Xbox. Things in my life go a lot better. My relationships are better. I start working out. I meditate. I journal. I take care of myself as a human being. I do things that human beings are intended to do. I'm not sitting around being lazy and sitting down for 12 to 18 hours a day. I'm I'm living life. So I can share the blog. I think it was one of the best blogs I've ever written personally, but I also feel that way every single time I put out a blog post. So just wanted to share that a little bit because I know that Xbox and video games are a huge part of young men's culture these days. And if you don't have a problem with it the way that I did, if you don't have a bad relationship with playing video games, then by all means, you don't have to stop playing. If you're doing the things that you need to do to take care of yourself mentally and physically, and you're still able to maintain your relationships, do well at work, all the stuff that really matters, and you can, have a manageable relationship with playing video games, then, don't change anything. If, don't fix what's not broke, or don't fix what's not broken. For me, it was broken. And I feel like if I was going through something like that, then that means that there are certainly others who have or are. And so just hearing it from another person can really help you realize oh crap, this is me. It's not me, but it's me. So if you have that issue, get rid of it. Just cut clean. I did mention in the blog, if you guys know me, you know that I like FIFA a lot. I'm a dog at FIFA, if I say so myself. I certainly miss playing. I miss playing FIFA with my group of friends, but I gotta take care of myself first and foremost. Eventually, I would like to be able to get to a place where I feel like I can handle it again, but we'll see, because I've thought that before, and then I just fall back into old patterns and old habits. So besides just quitting Xbox, it's just replacing that with better habits like reading and journaling, and getting a workout routine and creating routines that are good for you in different ways. So that's why I stopped playing Xbox. That's why I quit playing video games. And honestly, besides playing FIFA, I'm still in my FIFA group chat. Every time I see them playing, a little part of me is like, damn, I wish I was playing. But for the most part, I don't miss it that much. So, yeah. Next topic of discussion, 75 hard. So, I started this, shoot, I think it was March 5th, March 6th originally. And I made it 10 days. Oh no, it would have been the 8th. I started on the 8th, and I failed on the, I gotta look at a calendar to figure this out. Started on March 8th, failed on the 18th. That doesn't sound right. No, I started on the 2nd of March. I started on March 2nd, failed on the 11th. So I made it 9-10 days. I Flew to Colorado for a job interview, came back, flew into Cincinnati, and then drove down to Nashville. Got down to Nashville Friday the 11th at like 6, 7 o'clock. Hadn't done my workouts, but I had done pretty much everything else. Like I had maintained a solid diet that day, did my reading on the plane, drank a bunch of water. Didn't get in my workouts. Probably could have, realistically could have, but I didn't. So I took the weekend off, drove back to Ohio that Monday, the 14th, restarted on the 15th. So it's been 13 days since I restarted. And first of all, even the fact that I restarted means that 75 hard it works. 75 hard, if you do not know, is a pretty simple challenge. There are 6 rules. 2 workouts a day for 45 minutes. One of them has to be outside. You have to follow a diet. No alcohol, no cheat meals. 1 gallon of water, 10 pages of reading of a nonfiction book. Audiobooks do not count. And then you have to take a progress picture. That's all you have to do. 75 days. So on paper, sounds relatively easy. For me, the most difficult part was always going to be working out twice a day. But it's nice because one of the workouts that I've done, I literally go for a 45-minute walk every morning. It's a great way to start the day, get outside, get some fresh air, even if it's cold. Like, especially if it's cold, it makes the rest of your day a lot easier because it's like a really hard mental thing to get over, going for a walk when it's freezing cold outside. Then from there, just getting in another workout could be simple, like riding a bike. That's something that I do on my recovery days, or I'll sometimes, if I have the time, I'll play basketball or soccer for upwards of 2 hours. But the whole point about 75 hard is creating discipline and mental fortitude, which is something that I've always struggled with. So this, like, it came to me at a perfect time. A couple of my friends were starting it back at the beginning of the month. So I was like, shoot, might as well. I had heard of it before. It's like, sign me up. So like I said, I failed, but I got back on that horse, which I was super proud of myself for because old me would not have even bothered. So 13 days in so far, I look really good if I say so myself. I've lost like 5 pounds, 10 pounds. I have not weighed myself in close to a week, so I'm not 100% sure where I stand right now. I feel great. Physically, I feel great. Mentally, I feel probably one of the best periods of mental clarity that I've ever had in my entire life. If you feel like you struggle with discipline, or if you feel like you need to get more out of your life and get more out of yourself and demand more out of yourself, do it. Download the app. It's like $5. Print out the I've got the 75 hard rules and day list up on my calendar here in my bedroom. So it's like one of the first things that I see every single day. It's like I don't have an excuse. Got to do it. Have to do it. I want to be the best me that I can possibly be, especially being a coach. It's one of the best things that's ever happened to me. Very grateful, Andy Frisella. You're the GOAT. Appreciate you. Appreciate the program. I can't wait to see who I am. What, in quick math, 62 days, 61, 62 days. It's been fun, honestly. I've really enjoyed it. My days fly by. It's been a godsend. So, guys, if you feel, like I said, if you feel like you need to instill discipline and improve yourself, give it a go. There's no reason not to. It's great. Again, shout out Andy. All right, lastly, before I introduce my friend Drake, that's my interview for the week at SRS Cards. Give him a follow at SRS Cards on Twitter. Didn't plan on talking about this when I was planning out the podcast earlier in the week. North Carolina has made it to the Final Four as a number 8 seed. Again, those of you that know me that are going to listen to this, you know that I've been in North Carolina. I lived in North Carolina. I was born in North Carolina. My grandpa went to UNC. My dad's a diehard Tar Heel fan. All my family are Tar Heels. So I've always been a Tar Heel despite living in Ohio. Not the first time I've seen them in the Final Four, but it is definitely a bit of a shock because they were on the bubble in the NCAA to even make it to the tournament for the longest time. They beat Duke in Cameron on Coach K's last night, and that kind of solidified, like, hey, they're going to be a tournament team. got the number 8 seed, won their first game against Marquette, beat the crap out of Marquette, beat Baylor in the second round, and haven't really looked back. Favorable draw, having to play the 15 seed St. Peter's today, but this team made it to the Final Four. That is wild. And the craziest thing is that they played Duke in the Final Four. UNC and Duke have never, ever, ever played in the NCAA tournament. Ever. Which is kind of unfathomable that two of the best college basketball programs in the United States have never played each other in the tournament. For the first time, it is going to happen next Saturday. I've said to my dad before, I don't know that I could handle watching North Carolina and Duke play in the Final Four. Watching North Carolina and Duke play in the regular season is already anxiety inducing to the 10th level. It's either gonna be one of the best nights of my life or one of the worst nights of my life, no doubt about it. I've not watched a ton of college basketball in the past couple of years, but I always watch Carolina in March. I watch the Carolina Duke game every single year. I watch them in the tournament. This is gonna be one for the history books. I have a feeling I haven't seen any Vegas lines or anything like that, but I feel like it's gonna be a very tight, intense game. So that's going to be an insane amount of fun, or like I said, just the worst night of my life. No in between. But regardless, Hubert Davis, Final Four, first year as the head coach. I'm so happy for that man. I was so ecstatic almost a year ago to the day that he was named head coach. Like, the writing had been on the wall ever since Roy brought him on to the Carolina staff like 10 years ago. He got him from ESPN, and people had talked about it in the Carolina community for a long time that Hubert was next up. And then here he is, Final Four in his first year as a head coach. The group of guys, they've gone through some adversity this year, had a tough start to the year, got blown out a couple of times by some good teams, Tennessee and Kentucky included. Had some injuries along the way, so the depth that North Carolina typically has isn't there. But my God, Mondo Baycott, Brady Manick, Caleb Love, RJ Davis, Leaky Black. Those 5 dudes are insane. One of the best starting 5s in college basketball. Been a lot of fun watching their tournament ride. So if you don't hear from me after Saturday, it's probably because Carolina lost. And if they do lose, I'll try and handle it as best as humanly possible. But I'll probably be a little devastated. But just also trying to remind myself that they achieved way more than anybody thought, including myself, that they could. Like, I thought they were going to lose the first game to Marquette, if I'm being completely honest. So, super happy about that. Also very anxious about next weekend. So let's go Tar Heels. Let's get that W. Let's send Coach K out with a loss in the Final Four. That would be sweet. All right, y'all, that's it for me on the solo bit for this week. Appreciate you listening. Next up, I've got my interview with Drake. Good buddy of mine. We lived together in Columbus for about a year. So really good dude, really hardworking guy. Works for DCI Grading. He's sports similar to me is his life. We talk about what's going on with him and his brand, SRS Cards, what he's getting into with cards, and a couple other things. So I really hope you enjoy the interview, and thank you for listening. All right, what's up, everybody? We're here with my boy Drake. His Twitter handle is SRS Cards. You can find him on Twitter, on the Twitter sphere if you're on there. I'd highly recommend giving him a follow. It's an interesting guy to follow. So let's just go ahead and kick this off. Drake, kind of introduce yourself to everybody and what's going on over with SRS.
So let me kind of get into how I know you.
Yeah. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So Joe and I, obviously we're good buddies. I appreciate you bringing me on here too, by the way. Like, it's kind of cool. You came on my podcast. I wanted to make you a producer of my shit, but like you straight up told me the truth. You're like, hey, like, I just don't, like, it's not really lining up with exactly what I want to do. It's like it is what I want to do, but cards is not really the direction for you. But sports is definitely like a common ground that we've had. And we met each other in college. Like, what was it? Like probably freshman, sophomore year. It's probably sophomore, junior year, because you worked at Olive Garden with
The OG baby.
yeah, with my like college homies, Garrett, Hayden, all those guys. Shout out. And we just really connected on a cool level, just because you're goofy as fuck like me. And we end up being roommates, yada yada yada. Long story short, we both love sports. We both love content creating, and that led me into getting a degree in sports from Ohio State. I worked for the athletics program. Sports has really been a central focus on my life. I eventually want to coach just like you one day, but it's not really in the works right now. I kind of want to like do my thing, do cards, travel.
Yeah.
But SRS Cards is just my brand that I pretty much am trying to work and focus on in the sports card market. I have some affiliate work that I do in there. I work for a couple companies in that industry, and honestly, like just and all it was starting a Twitter account, having a podcast with my homie Cam Henry, and that's actually led me into some money right now. And I'm actually going to Vegas tomorrow for sports cards, so everything's kind of working out. And I appreciate just being on here. I leave at 4 a.m. and Joe asked me if I wanted to be on this bitch, and I was like, sure.
Well, this guy is the reason why here recently I've been thinking about making my own podcast. I've known I wanted to have my own podcast ever since I listened to Pardon My Take for the first time. Like when I got my first sales job at Ashley Furniture, that's like
I remember that.
Yeah. I definitely remember calling in or like acting like I had a headache and having you guys come pick me up so we could kick it instead. But
kick it. Don't even lie. You kick it just so we can kick it instead. Keep it PG, I suppose.
Yeah, but like that was like when I started there, that was the reason like why I was like, oh, get into sales, make some money, start a podcast. It just never came to fruition because of my own laziness, honestly. But yeah, it's freaking
now,
sweet
though, bro.
Yeah. You gotta live and learn a little bit.
Now, right?
We're doing it now. So the here and now is all that really matters, in my opinion. Yesterday's gone, tomorrow's not here yet. Right now is what matters. So here we are. Tell me what's going on with the Caravan podcast.
So like I said, I had Joe. I was trying to have him producer on the I was trying to have you on the like podcast, obviously, like because I really think you have a good gift of gab as well. You're a funny dude. But like I ended up finding some other people to do the thing I was going to have you do. But the Caravan was a podcast just about like the journey of me going through cards and figuring out a way to make money from it all. Cam Henry, which I keep mentioning him too, he's a partner in this. So like I'm actually like developing an LLC and trying to make this a legit business and all that stuff. So I'm in the works with some other people. Like I got a lot of stuff going on. It's busy. I quit my full-time job now because I'm making money podcasting and selling cards.
So, big time, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited but nervous at the same time because it's a big step, dude. It's like
it's huge.
Putting all your eggs in one basket, but like I think that's the way to go if you like think it's like your path. You know what I mean? If your path to success requires you to take a risk and a bet on yourself, I would rather bet on myself than bet on any other thing in the world. As long as I can control what I can control.
Yep.
It's really the only thing I can do.
Yeah, they say you got to risk it to get the biscuit, dude. And I mean, I can't remember when it was, but a couple months ago, like I saw that you reached 2,000 followers on Twitter, and like blew my mind just like watching the growth of the account and just the growth of the podcast in and of itself was just awesome and super inspiring to me. So you know, I think the bets that you've made on yourself to this point have paid off, and knowing you, I know that the sky's the limit, dude. So
thank you.
Dude.
Thank you. And the thing is though, too, it's just like we're doing right now. Like I started my podcast off. I didn't do it for money. I didn't do it for like, I mean, I wanted to make money. It was my journey to like get to like, you know, run my own like podcast monthly. That's going to actually like give me a way to just do that for like my time. And sports have always been that like I said, have always been that space for me. So I knew like fantasy football. Cam and I didn't know if we wanted to do a fantasy football podcast for so long, just like you wanted to do one Ashley Furniture and all that stuff as a salesman. And like, it was never a sales thing for me. It's always just been, I've been addicted to talking. I have the gift of gab. Everybody, like, I just talk to people. I'm not like, it's one of my favorite things to do is just connect and learn about other people's stories. So the Caravan was just like, me interviewing other people within the card industry and having them explain to me kind of like how they found success, what they do to make money, kind of their process. They give me advice, how to invest in sports cards, how to do everything the right way, ways to not lose money. So like the podcast was really almost just like a networking thing
Yeah.
where I just reached out to everybody in cards who I thought was successful, like from afar on Twitter. I connected with them, said I'd love to know their process, love to know what they're thinking. I'd ask them all the questions I possibly could. And all of that advice through 45 episodes, that kind of added up to where it was like, okay, now I'm getting paid to host a podcast for a 10,000 member Discord for money every month. And I'm the host of it with my buddy TJ Card Collector, who's like one of my good friends now, just through the internet. Met him through just literally on Twitter, just bullshit, and really funny dude from Florida, smart kid. But like I've just kind of lucked into connections, but it wasn't really luck. It was that I knew that these people were successful. I knew they were good at doing what they were doing, so it was my job to kind of seek that out and record the information, but for myself, but also if I record that information and put it out to the card, like Twitter and community, I thought it'd be beneficial as well. So that's where the ball kind of got rolling for me, and just talking.
Yeah, well, I mean, you said it was a little bit of luck, but dude, I mean, there is some degree of luck in life, but like you kind of create your own luck in the same sense. Like things aren't just going to happen for you if you're not putting in the effort that's required to see,
Yeah,
to happen into
yeah.
those luck. Because I mean, like just meeting people online and making those connections, like you could say it's luck, but you put yourself forward and you reached out and you talked to
hmm
people, interviewed people, put them on the podcast, and this is where it
You
got
know,
you.
and honestly, I was actually kind of taught that lesson through like networking. Like and you hear this all the time in school, and even in the sports industry, it's all about networking. And like
Yeah.
you always hear it. It's like the hands you shake, not the grades you make.
Mm.
And it's like that stands pretty true in sports, but also you have to be putting an effort. You have to like go out there and work for free. Like I worked for Ohio State athletics for free, but like the connections that I made through there and then like what I can put on my resume now, like that's kind of what is, garnered my success through the sports card industry and has helped me kind of do my thing along with like my job. Like I worked in social media for about a year and a half too. I understand the algorithms. I understand what's important. And honestly, the most important thing about social media, in my opinion, is, and this is what everybody does wrong on their own like personal pages. It's like stop, like not being genuine. And like when you have a business and you're genuine and you let people see the inside and you let them see your fuck ups and you let them see like all the stuff that you're doing, I think they respect your business more and they want
Oh
to
yeah.
support something that they know so much about. So that's kind of what a podcast does for my business, because I don't want to necessarily rely on podcasting to make me money or content creation, because honestly I might seem comfortable in front of a camera. I don't like being on camera. Like
Yeah,
I
I
like
get no,
having
I completely get that.
yeah, I like having like, because like with the card broker stuff, which is the Discord I'm in the Discord that I'm staff, uh like I'm on video for that, and I always want to be the person kind of behind the camera, with the ideas and coming up with just different promotions, different marketing campaigns, stuff like that. I would rather be on the other side of this camera.
Speaking of
And
which, you're just that was funny.
it's because my it's because my phone went to 20%. But
Oh shoot.
I would rather be on this. I'd rather be on this side of the camera than the other side of the camera, because it's just like again, I don't really love like video is kind of almost more manipulative in a way, and I feel like when you have audio and like you create almost a better conversation in a room. So like when I'm with Cam Henry and we're talking, I don't really think everybody needs to see everything we're talking about
For
or like
sure.
what we're doing or whatever, because it takes away from like what we're saying. So like even though I could go and I could grow my podcast on YouTube, I could do all the things I wanted you to do, right? Like I wanted you to like make all the video, do all that stuff, but I realized like that's so much work on my end, and that's so much work on like your end or like whoever. It's like I have an editor for Card Broker, so like that's whatever.
Yeah.
But like there's so much work in content creation that like you want to kind of centrally focus on what you're good at or like the apps that you love. So like I love Twitter. I'm going after Twitter because like
Yeah.
once you get really big on one, you can pretty much get big on the others. And Twitter, I feel like, is the most important one because it's a real conversation. It's not just a
Yeah.
flex off like Instagram
Or
or TikTok.
yeah, 100%. Like I always find that like I'm at my happiest when I'm off of like I don't have TikTok in my phone on my phone anymore. I have Instagram,
Hmm.
and partially because I enjoy like posting when I go on trips, but also like since I've been doing 75 hard, it like kind of keeps me accountable because I've been posting that to my story every single day, and like all my like a lot of people have
And
been
that's
saying shit.
great. The thing is, that's
Like
great.
that's the only reason I
That's
use
genuine.
Instagram. Yeah, but I mean
That's a
like
genuine thing though. Like that's part of your day. Like thinks like, oh, he's posting again, like he's running. But like that's everybody judging you for living your life because you're genuinely putting that on there for yourself. If you're
it's just to
posting
keep me
stuff for other,
accountable.
yeah, if you're posting other stuff, in my opinion, like if you're always trying to show off stuff through your social media about your life, all the stuff that's good, no one's gonna buy it because like they
Yeah.
know that's not real. And like, so if you put genuine stuff on there, like a lot of my like personal social media stuff is like I like showing people music. So guess what my thing on my stories
Yep.
usually are
Oh
like
yeah.
music. And like that's the only thing I really post on social media. I don't post my pictures. I don't tell anybody what I'm doing. Like not very many people know that I've been traveling, selling sports cards and doing my stuff. And like
Yeah.
I like that because it's just like I get to live my own life and then see somebody who cares or I see somebody who I enjoy being around, I can just update them through that instead of being like, hey, I saw you're doing that thing. Like very self-indulged and like I don't do Facebook and I don't do Instagram and I don't
Yeah.
do the personal social medias because I think it's like I think it's poor. Like
Yeah.
it's a poor way to live, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, and
But like your trips, like that's sick because like that's a memory, like a scrapbook memory you can put on your Instagram. You
and
know, how
like
was that trip?
that's how I kind of like to think about it. Like I was looking back at my Instagram page the other day, and like that's kind of how I really couldn't care less like about all my friends seeing all the shit that like all the trips that I've gone on and stuff. But it's like more for me to like look back on and like it's like those little pockets of time that I've got saved on there. And like obvious, like you said, those are like the best moments. Like those aren't the moments where I'm like actually like doing hard
Yes,
shit,
yes.
but like I also like I do keep track of all that stuff in other ways for myself because like people
That's
don't
good for
really.
your mental health, though, bro.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
honestly for like the blog you wrote about mental health and your struggles and everything. That was the first time that I think you wrote something that was just the most genuine as it could possibly be. And it was like your dad commenting underneath your post like that was just like heartwarming for me because it shows the love between you and your dad too. And like he probably helped you through all that stuff too. And like him being there, like Jeffrey's Jeffrey, bro. Like it's Jeffrey. You know what I mean? It's just Jeffrey. So it's like him commenting and being on Twitter and being supportive of you. Like that's inspiring to me because like I hope I can be as good as a dad as Jeffrey one day. Cause
oh yeah.
you know
I
what I
tell him
mean?
all
It's
the
like
time. I tell him all the time that he's the goat. And he's like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about.
yeah, right. And it's just like Jeffrey, shut up and watch the Braves.
Like Jeffrey, you're a good one. You're up there. You're top tier, Jeffrey. You just
And he
I wish
also
he saw
commented
himself in
about
that
that
light.
sports setup. Like, check out,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
the thing is, he does, like, hey, did you see my new setup in here?
Oh, you did it. Oh, let's go. That's
Sports book,
fantastic.
boy.
How's that been for March Madness so far?
So let me flip this back around. I got to figure out how to do it. Oh, there it is. All right. Well, March Madness, I actually went to Louisville over the weekend. I went to a casino and lost a bunch of money, but like, it wasn't very fun because like I just did parlays over the weekend instead of like
Yeah.
doing like straight bets. And I had New Mexico State in the parlay winning a money line. I had St. Pete's money line. I had what was another one that was a pretty good one? Fuck. I can't remember. I had a couple like I had like 3 or 4 like 3 and 4 leg parlays and like all of them missed by like one
Dude,
game. And it's like
every single time I place a parlay, it happens just like that. When I was in Nashville a couple weekends ago, I put like a 4-leg parlay in all the Premier League games. One team lost that I bet on.
yeah.
And over the weekend, I had a 3-leg parlay in the Premier League. Or no, it might have been like just random European games. Again, just missed by one. It's just super frustrating. I'm way better at betting when I'm betting on just like.
Is soccer your best sport?
It depends on, honestly, dude. It depends on what I'm watching. It's funny that we're talking about this because my blog that I'm putting out tomorrow is like kind of my approach to sports betting and specifically with soccer. So I've had a couple of nice bets here recently. One really, really nice one during the Tottenham Manchester United game 2 Saturdays ago. It was 1-0 United tie game. Ronaldo takes the lead right before halftime for United. So it was 2-1. I was with my buddy Sean in Nashville, and I told him exactly what was going to happen. I said, Tottenham's going to tie the game. Ronaldo's going to win it.
Uh-huh.
So Tottenham ties the game, and immediately I open my sportsbook app, put a bet. I literally put I only had like $40 in my sportsbook account, but I put every penny on him to score the next goal. He did.
Live bet it and hit.
Yep.
So how much you win?
It was like,
if you don't mind me asking.
It was like plus 600 something.
Oh my God. You made $240?
290, 280, something like that on a $43 bet.
You got your $40 back. So like if
it was like the total return was like 323, I think.
Nice.
So
bro.
like it was
Good
just
for
like
you.
it's honestly, I'm just trying to go off my gut feelings. Like I was watching that game.
Don't ever read. And here's my biggest thing this is like for any gambler out there who thinks they fucking know how to gamble. And like, this is the thing that bothers me about everybody. Everybody thinks the way you gamble is like reading articles about people who are experts in gambling. That's not what you do. You fucking bet on your gut, or you have an algorithm that you've developed through your own ideas. It's like, bro, like you had like, pardon my take, like you mentioned earlier, had a fish that bet all the games in the NFL season and was positive because it's like their bet. It's like if it's better than 53%, you win. You know?
Yeah, didn't Larry go like 60% one year?
I have no clue. I haven't listened to.
I haven't either
since like 2015. So
I haven't either.
Like it got so stale because the jokes are just the running jokes are so annoying. It's just so repetitive. It's like the same. It's like the same podcast every episode. You know what I mean? And like I wish they would just like sometimes let off the gas of the fucking like bullshit speak and just like talk about sports. You know, and like that's kind of why I developed my own podcast, because I think, don't get me wrong, Barstool is a very successful, very good brand, and like I'm not going to shit on it because like I don't really try to shit on everything all the time, but like I think they could just improve by like actually being sports reporters instead of like being like satire constantly. And that's why I enjoy I enjoy the conversation we're having right now, because like you can teach, like they're pushing DK, which is DraftKings, so much that they're involved so much with gambling now that it's like that's all that matters, rather than like explaining the importance of sports or like doing all that. Because like just because you gamble doesn't mean you know about sports, and that's the biggest thing that bothers me too. Anybody that thinks they're like betting on other people's shit, or they don't come up with their own bets, or they don't even know their own record, you're not a good gambler. Like if you don't know your record, you're not a good gambler. Like if I'm betting, I put it like so I bet at Caesars this weekend.
Okay.
I know all my bets because I had it in the sportsbook app. Then you go to an Excel spreadsheet and you write your shit down. So then you can say, oh, what's my percentage? Guess what? My only good bet this weekend was Patty the Batty. And I bet knockout first round and it fucking submission, but I hedged my bet. Because like it was plus 200 for only a knockout. Like he could only get a knockout. So it's plus 200. I knew he was going to win 100%. Like the for him to win was like minus 625, but to end it knockout the first round was plus 200.
Yeah.
So I went ahead, I bet plus 200. That was a sketchy bet. Plus 200 is never an easy one.
No.
So like I knew that. So like since I had knockout, the only other thing I thought he could do in the first round would be submission, but I thought it was going to be over in the first round no matter what. Didn't know how, didn't know what it was going to happen. But hedging, I hedged with 2 minutes left. Like beforehand, I had about 20 units on Patty the Batty. Like my units, like because you want to go units rather than dollar amounts. You don't need to tell everybody what the fuck you're betting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you don't need to tell people like what your price is or you're betting or whatever. So I put 40 units on the knockout at plus 200, and like that would have got me hella bread. But I lost it. But from hedging, I only ended up losing like 2 units.
Yeah.
So it really helped me out in terms of like my actual bet, because like sports books give you like incentive to sign up on their apps. They give you free money to put right back in the system. It's like it was a fun weekend. It's just like I don't think gambling is fun unless you treat it like a business.
Yeah, I mean the only reason I do it is just I watch probably too much soccer, and like there are a lot of the games that I watch I'm not like actually invested in unless it's Arsenal playing. So like I enjoy watching the game. It just makes me enjoy it a little bit more, especially like I do mostly live betting, and I'm looking for those value bets. Like you said that the bet on that fight was plus 200. Those are the kind of bets that I'm looking for, but only if I feel like there's a better chance that it's actually going to come to fruition than what the odds are implying.
So I have a question. You know the Hobby Degen chat I have you in?
Yep.
So that was an idea of mine where I just want, like, eventually it's going to turn into a chat where like tell me who your favorite team is. We make a Twitter account, and we have a Twitter account based on the information going on in our hobby chat. So you have to be in the chat to be a part of the Twitter account. and Big Z is actually going to be my moderator for it, and he's going to do all the stuff and marketing and everything for it. But I only want people to tell me what they think their team is going to do that day, and I will like look at the list, keep track if they're going to win, lose, or whatever they say, just win or lose. Like, is your team going to win today? And they put either yes, yes, no, yes on all the shits, and then I'm going to keep track of everybody's record, because then if somebody's really, really good at picking their own team to win or lose on money line, or like to like look at the line and say they're going to win or they're going to lose or whatever, I'm having a competition where I give away free shit because I want to be able to have people participate. But like, if you go in the chat and you do these things, it's like, if you're really good at betting, then you win free money. But like, you're winning free money because you're winning me bets.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm willing to bet on you, willing to give me the information, and that's all I want. And that's all I want.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you're part of that chat. I love how active you are and like putting your bets in there. Like, I wanted you to be in there originally because you are the soccer guy.
Yeah.
You know, and like
I wish
like
I could get a little bit more active in the chat, but my days have been super busy. So like,
don't worry
I'm
about
not
it,
even
bro.
on Twitter as much as I used to be. But I try and get in there.
Don't worry about it.
The thing about my bets is like, it's always like, it's got to be like, I really stick to live betting, because a lot of
I love that. I love that
because like the
approach,
the lines in soccer games is a 3-way money line, and I don't like betting on the spread in soccer at all, because it's the margins are so fine. You know, 1 goal, 2 goals,
and honestly, books are so sharp with soccer. Like, soccer's been a sport for so long that like they've been betting on soccer for fucking ever. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
like, there's an algorithm for the books to really be so sharp and so tight, because there's been so many of these teams that fit that build of these teams. So it's like, I like those live money lines because it's harder for the books to keep a sharp line, because like, who knows what's going to happen next. Like you can, if a team's down 2 goals and you're like, I still think they're going to win, they've been pushing the fucking field the entire time, and like the other teams has 2 lucky goals and they're down like 2-0. It's like, all the momentum's on the one side. I'm going to bet side where it's plus money on the team that was the favorite before the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, that's kind of what I always look for in live betting. And like, that's why I like what you do, because I feel like it's a safer bet.
I do too. I mean, there was a game in the Premier League where that literally the situation you just explained, the two being down 2-0, but like they were, I didn't get to watch the full game. I watched the condensed highlights.
Yeah.
They gave up 2 goals early. They looked good the entire game, just got a little unlucky, and then they came back and scored 3 to win the game. So like, if I was watching that live, I feel like I would have bet on them, and a little bit of it would have been my bias, because that team is coached by the American that we have in the Premier League. That's my boy. Jesse March Madness.
That's funny. Is that his nickname?
Somebody gave it to him the other day after they won that game. His name is Marsch. Yeah, of course it was on Twitter. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, bro. Twitter's the like, and I'm I'm biased towards Twitter. Twitter account, put all your content through it, and push the fuck out of it on there, because like, that's where people can talk to you, tell your stuff's good. Like, you see the interaction I have on Twitter.
Oh yeah.
Like, the engagement, everything I have on Twitter is fun. Like, I enjoy Twitter. Like, it's like, people are funny. I built relationships through Twitter, and it just feels like, I have more homies in all these states now. And it's like, it's just a good time. It's like, just, you can be a good person on Twitter. If you're a good person on Twitter and you meet these people, it's like, you have an opportunity to make friends across the country. And like, I feel lucky enough that I'm going to Vegas tomorrow morning, hanging out with all my homies I met on Twitter that I've been grinding with for 2 years. And now we're all just kind of making money on sports cards, traveling together on, trying to start up this business that I'm working for called DCI. It's a grading company.
Let's go DCI. Big DCI guy.
Yeah. So, and like, we have a big launch this weekend in Vegas, and it's like, we're helping sponsor the show in Vegas. So it's a pretty big event. It's a little bit over my head and I'm nervous for it, but like, obviously, like, this is kind of get me prepped. It's put me in a good mindset. And I appreciate you even like asking me to do this the night before. Like,
yeah, dude.
I think it's cool.
I feel bad that I kind of kept you up a little bit, but
no, you already, if I didn't want to fucking be on here, dude, I wouldn't be on here. Yeah, I wanted to come on here and support you, because that's like, you're my homie. You're my homie for life. You were my roommate in college, and like, that means something to me. You already know what type of person I am, and like, I just enjoy your friendship, and I want you to come cook at my fucking house again sometime soon.
I just made that Bimby Bop dish. I made it twice this week. I wasn't planning. I made it again today. I wasn't planning on it, but it was just so good.
It's so healthy
God,
for you
dude.
too, bro. It's just so healthy for you.
Yo, so my diet for 75 hard is vegetarian. So instead of what we would normally put in it, chicken, I've been putting eggs in there. So I put eggs, potatoes, onions,
Ooh.
pineapples with the rice, obviously. All that delicious sauce.
Fuck yeah, bro. Good for you.
So good. I wish I had more. I'd go eat some right now. But yeah, you said you were nervous. Don't, just use those feelings to drive you and have a kick-ass weekend, man, because you're gonna have a good time. You're gonna learn a lot. You're gonna do a lot of good stuff down there, or out in Vegas, I should say. But yeah, I appreciate you coming on. We'll go ahead and wrap this up, so don't keep you up too much longer and get packed and get ready to hit the airport. So, but yeah, dude, appreciate you coming on. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you so much. Yeah, shout out Footy Foster. Foster, what do you think?
My guy.
And follow SRS Cards. Don't fuck around. Shout out.
If you're not following SRS Cards already, that's your first mistake. I'll tell you that much.
I appreciate you, Joseph.
All right, man. It was a good time. Till next time.
Yeah. Peace.
Peace. Stop recording.